You're talking about boys who were sent from the plains of India to go and fight at 16,000, 17,000 feet without any major preparation of high altitude warfare. They were not equipped for the cold. The Chinese were way better armed. All of them were martyred doing what they do. None of them had turned their back to the enemy.
Yeah.
None of them, they fought genuinely. It's like when you talk about dying with your boots on. I mean, that's as literal as it gets, because most soldiers, when you speak to them, I mean, of course, there is country first, then your platoon, your officer, but a huge part of their strength comes from the fact of the love, belief and confidence that is given to them from people in their homes.
120 Bahadur is up for release. I'm very excited. Also because the director is known to me, primary reason being I'm a big Farhan fan, and here he is with me. From me, Hrishi K, everybody who's watching, listening, it's a very important film. It talks about these brave Faujis, and please go and keep your day to the theatres. Hi, great to see you.
Good to see you here.
So, I have a history with Rezi because he joined MTV's promo department.
Yeah, that's
and I used to do voiceovers for him.
Right.
And I found him a really interesting director, even on a 30-second promo voice, because he was like, listen, forget that you have a bass voice, which at that time was very rare. I'm talking about late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted the standard bass voice, the husky voice for the female.
Yeah.
And he said, pitch it high, crack your voice, do all kinds of funny things with it. I was a little apprehensive, but then I realized that really led to my growth as somebody who uses his voice. And I never failed to tell him that. And of course, he listens to great music, so we've had lots of chats.
Oh yeah, he's an encyclopedia.
Yeah, man. And he's seen so many gigs. And if I'm not mistaken, his dad was a Fauji. His dad was in the forces.
Yeah. His dad is in the forces. His brother's in the forces. So, I don't know how long you know him. Did he come to you with this script, or were you friends before? Take me through that. We had worked together before. So we did a lot of advertising work together. And we hit it off immediately. He's an easy guy to get along with.
Yeah.
I think way easier than I am to get along with. So, but yeah, just had a really nice time working together. Loves food. The after party, after shoots would always be fun. And at that time, I think maybe the second or third time that we were working together, I asked him, I said, don't you want to direct a film? So he said, yeah, I really want to direct a film. Have you heard of Shaitan Singh? So at that time I had not. So I said, no, I don't know. So then he told me very briefly about Battle of Rezangla and what had happened. And I was like, wow, that sounds pretty intense. So he said, I'm working on a script and I'm trying to put that together. So I said, wonderful, yeah, if there's anything I can do, please let me know. But then he, I think, changed tracks. He did another film. After which I think he picked up the pieces of this again, and then I guess maybe that conversation stayed with him that we had. So he just reached out and he said, you remember I'd spoken to you about that story? I've got a script in place. Would you like to hear it? I'd love for you to play the part. So he came over to the office, we met, he narrated the script to me and we shook hands and said, come on, let's go. And that was it.
So these soldiers had very meager resources, right?
Yeah.
Are we talking outdated guns or fewer mortars, fewer grenades? If you could just give us a sense of history. And of course, it's a movie, so you can't be completely factual. It's not a documentary.
Yeah,
but just to get a sense.
No, so I think the first thing that probably was the cause of us being not fully prepared was we were not prepared for the invasion at all. It was not something that India was prepared for. So we were taken by surprise and then had to deploy resources very, very quickly to front lines. So, I mean, there was only that much that could be sent and that much that could be carried to get to the furthest places very, very quickly. You're talking about in the 60s. I went to Ladakh in 2003 for the first time. And the infrastructure even then wasn't the best. I mean, it's amazing now. When we went to shoot now, it's really, really good. But it wasn't great in 2003. So I can imagine what it may have been like in 1962. But still, I mean, they did send soldiers out front, and you're talking about boys who were sent from the plains of India to go and fight at 16,000, 17,000 feet without any major preparation of high altitude warfare. They were not equipped for the cold. The Chinese were way better armed. Their weapons were more advanced than us. They had snow goggles. They had proper snow jackets. So they were just definitely way more ahead of us in terms of their preparation for the battle. But given that, I mean, I think just it was pure resolve, pure will, and just incredible courage that they found in themselves and in each other to be able to do what they did.
You know, I've always admired you both as an actor and a filmmaker, but even more so when I see the trailer of this film. Like when you're the head of a regiment like this, like the Kumaon regiment, or you're the captain of the Indian cricket team, or you're commanding troops, it is part of custom that you give them a pep talk. And cinema is replete with examples of that. You could have easily reminded us of a gladiator when you were talking to the troops, but there's enough of Farhan in it.
Right.
Is that a difficult thing to do? Because, you know, when you've watched so much cinema over the years, to be able to cut out, like, for example, something like a gladiator, which are just iconic moments where people have addressed their troops.
Yeah, of course.
And say, I must bring more Farhan into this than anybody else. Is that a difficult thing to do, or is it's autopilot now?
No, it happens by itself. I mean, honestly, like there is no other film that comes into your realm of consciousness when you're out there making a film. But I mean, just to clarify, because you didn't mention it, so he was not the head of the Kumaon regiment. The Kumaon regiment is a massive regiment.
Sure.
He was a part of the Kumaon regiment, and he was the company commander.
This platoon.
Of this platoon of Charlie Company.
Yeah.
So that's who he was. So he served in the Kumaon regiment. That's who he was.
So, you know, these lines are really. Has your dad also written the dialogues, or is he only done the lyrics?
No, he's done the lyrics. So the dialogues are written by Sumit Arora.
Very nice.
Yeah, really very
really,
powerful.
Really nice.
Yeah.
Let's come to the music. There's one song which I've heard which has Salim Sulaiman along with Sukhwinder, and there's the other one I heard with Amit Trivedi and a lot of new singers.
Yeah.
Both very inspirational, very soaring. I mean, it's lovely that Javed Saab does this. You know, he's able to handle the cloak of patriotism and yet keep it so beautifully natural.
Yeah.
Ideally, if he was here, he would have answered
this
question. But give me a peek into his head.
He would have probably said, "Badi achhi pehchan hai aapki," or something like that, and that would have been it. No, honestly, I mean, it's not easy to do what he does. You have a person who has written many such songs before, such songs based on similar situations before. So to find a new way of saying something that kind of touches those same sentiments and arouses and evokes the same emotions, it's not an easy thing to do. You know, in Yaad Aate Hain that he's written, which is the soldiers at the front line missing their homes and thinking of their families and friends and things. It's a beautiful melody that Amit Trivedi has composed, and just very simply written. I think the simplicity of the lyric is what makes it really beautiful. It's one of those, you know, like, what are they called? They call earworms, that, you know, when once you hear, you just want to like kind of keep hearing it, because it has a kind of a soothing feeling to it. So I absolutely love that song. Yeah.
And Sukhwinder has this great quality in his voice to evoke that patriotism. You know, he's just Is that like one of those वादियों से गूंजती हुई आवाज?
नहीं, like धरती से जुड़ी हुई आवाज.
Yeah.
He has, I mean, he is completely, I mean, he has a very son of the soil actually personality only, na? And I think your personality reflects in how you are and how you sing. But just a powerful voice. I mean, most importantly, you know, he's got a powerful voice. It grabs your attention immediately the minute he starts singing. So he's a very unique singer, a very unique individual.
And to simulate conditions, because this is 14,000, 15,000 feet
roughly
there.
About 15,000.
How high did you go in Ladakh? I mean, did you?
We were shooting at an altitude of somewhere between 13 to 14,000 feet.
Wow.
Is where we were shooting. So, I mean, we got a sense of what it's like. of course, with extreme weather conditions. When it was hot, it was real. It's a desert here, So I mean, when it was hot, it was really, really hot, and when it got cold, it got really, really cold, and we had some very crazy dust storms to deal with, which I had not experienced in Ladakh before. I mean, although I've shot there for 5 months during Laksh, shot there for Bhag Milka Bhag as well, but I had never experienced this kind of stormy weather like I experienced this time.
Just to prepare for this interview, I just did a Wikipedia and a Google, and it's so tragic that apparently it was winter time and their bodies were frozen in the snow.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were in positions, for example, the medic had a syringe in his hand. One of the soldiers was taking out a mortar, and it's
essentially
so tragic,
all of them were martyred doing what they do. None of them had turned their back to the enemy. None of them, they fought genuinely. It's like when you talk about dying with your boots on, I mean, that's as literal as it gets in that situation. I mean, they fought till the very, very end, just like lions.
Lot of testosterone in this film, lots of male actors, wonderful, obviously, because they have to show the platoon. Talk to me about some of the other actors who you were really impressed by.
Yeah, there's many of them. There's this young boy called Sparsh who plays Ramchandra Yadav ji. So he's a very unique person, and his role in this story is very, very unique because he was the gentleman who was sent back by Shaitan Singh ji to convey what had happened.
Wow.
So realistically, if it wasn't for him, I don't know if the world would really, really know the entire story. There would have been bits and pieces, maybe people would have gathered from what had happened, but he was a surviving member who came and said what happened. And I'll leave the joy of discovery to you of what happens after that.
Sure.
But so Sparsh Walia is a young actor, really, really very, very good actor. And similarly, there's many such new boys here. Most of the faces that you see on this poster, most of them are relatively new actors who are either, from theatre, and maybe some of them are transitioning from doing OTT stuff or TV stuff into film. But for a lot of them, it's their first film. I mean, Vivan is somebody who's worked in a lot of films before. Ajinkya, of course, is somebody who's worked. Ijaz has worked. But then we have many, many other. There's Dharamveer, there's Ankit, there's, my God, there's so many of them here. Yeah, there's lots of them. All of them are amazing. They make the film absolutely like a complete watch.
The thing about movies like this is actors always tend to get asked, how much time have you spent with the forge? Your father gave a wonderful answer during the music launch when he said during Operation Vijay, he had the good fortune of going up. And then he insisted saying, can you take me battalion by battalion? And that gave him a good fresh perspective on how Faujis are. Any similar experiences you had, going there during Laksh or now?
Yeah, during Laksh, yes, absolutely. I went there like a very similar kind of thing because we were location scouting. We went there for research to understand what the terrain was like because since we are recreating it, we wanted it to be very, very similar to where the battles were actually fought. So we spent a lot of time there traveling in Dras, traveling in Kargil, meeting, and this was fresh off the back of Operation Vijay.
Wow.
The film was shot in 2003.
Yep.
So we were researching in 2001 and 2002. So we met people there who had actually fought those battles. And we were talking to them. So we learned a lot about the mindset of the soldier and the mindset of the officer at those times. Not when it's peacetime or not when there's some kind of a ceasefire or, unilaterally we've decided nothing is going to happen. But when the chips are really down. And that helped tremendously because I did interact with them a lot. In this, my focus really was on embodying Shaitan Singh ji to the best of my interpretation that I could do of him. And the knowledge of course, of having worked on Laksh and having been through all that stuff that I had gone through on Laksh helped me tremendously.
My last question is about Rashi and the other side of Fauji life. Like they say, the families are as brave, if not braver, than the forces.
Yeah.
They suffer loss.
Yeah.
the children often go years without seeing the father. The
Yeah.
wives pine for their husband. And also, there's a lot of movement when you're in the army.
Yeah, of
You don't
course.
stay in the same place for very long.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm so glad that the film explores
The officers
that.
especially.
The officers.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that the film explores that,
Yeah.
showing what home life is. And
Yeah, I mean, that is
Yeah.
an integral part of this life, so it would be foolish to ignore it. Because most soldiers, when you speak to them, I mean, of course, there is country first, then your platoon, your officer, but a huge part of their strength comes from the fact of the love, belief, and confidence that is given to them from people in their homes. To be able to go out there and do what they have to do. It plays a massive role, and there's a dialogue in the film where this character is looking at the photograph of his child, and the man sitting next to him says, every time I go back, I feel like my child has grown so much that I feel like I just left yesterday and he was so small, and I've come back and he's so big. And the character says, I mean, that's the life of a soldier. We sacrifice here at the border and the family sacrifices at home. So that's really what it is.
And Rashi, I mean,
Yeah.
we've seen her do so much work south of the Vindhyas. I
Yeah.
keep telling her when I see her saying, you should do more work here.
Yeah, she should. I mean, she's a very talented actor. And again, I mean, right now, she's on this curve of growth, not just in terms of as an artist, but even as a movie star. She's on an upward curve, and she's really good and a great person to work with. We had a great time, and I know that people will love what she's done in this film. It's difficult to find your space in a film that's predominantly about this one event, but I mean, because of her performance and the strength and the vulnerability that she brings to the part, she's very, very memorable.
Wonderful. 120 Bahadur is in theaters soon. Please go give it a lot of love. If you're looking for the songs, streaming sites, you can go to the Z Music Company YouTube channel. They're all going up there one by one. There are already a couple which are out. Farhan, thanks for this.
Oh,
Cheers.
thank you, man.
94.3 Radio 1.